You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.
Scorpio.
Good morning, the Yankees universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Thursday, September 5th. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, joined by my special co-host this morning. I got my guy Ghost. Ghost, how you feeling, baby?
Good morning, my brother, my friend. It's going to be a nice day, but a hard topic to talk about.
Yes, it definitely is, because the Yankees are struggling right now. Yankee fans who are in the building, this conversation, you may need some wine. You may need some alcoholic beverage to help you get through this morning, because the New York Yankees, we have lost 3 series in a row. We look like a ship that has a hole in the bottom of it. We are sinking. And the question that we're going to talk about, Ghost, is this New York Yankee team serious? Can we even take them serious at this moment, especially with what's going on in the 9th inning in Clay Holmes? Let me shout out the chat real quick. Shout out to my guy Nosebleed section in the building. We got Tina in the building as well. Tina, how you doing? Salute, 3 capital S's. And like always, remember, this is a safe space. No hate speech or bullying will be allowed. No breaching of the YouTube terms and services. If you violate any of the terms and services and our guidelines, you will be booted from the chat without any warning. Shout out to my guy Joey M, who is in the building as well. Joe, how you doing? FL Divers in the building. Good morning, you handsome bastard. But Ghost, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Let's get your take just off of last night's game. Before we take the dive into is this team serious or not, let me get your take on that while I'll set up the Instagram live. So go ahead, do that. I'm still right here. Don't think I'm ignoring you. Go ahead, bro.
I think it's a little frustrating, right? Because you think this offense would be able to produce against a team like that, especially a team that's under 500, and especially with this team that has a great offensive team, and they're just not performing well. The bullpen has been awful. I thought Stroman was coming out strong, but he got a few hits off of him and scored runs on him. It was awful. And then Verdugo, as you clearly saw, just has no heart in him to play the game right now. I don't know what's going on with him, and it's frustrating, right? But even beforehand, you would expect this team to go off on a better start than losing series after series. And then seeing this performance, as I saw, was very frustrating, because I expect this team to do a lot better in a run where we should be running away with it, right? Especially against a team that's losing like Baltimore. It's like Jekyll and Hyde sometimes. Sometimes they're winning, sometimes they're losing. Sometimes you're either this or you're either that. And it's frustrating to me, because you would expect this team to do a lot better. They should be 4 or 5 games ahead of Baltimore right now, but they're not. They could have easily taken the series away from them, but then Baltimore all of a sudden decides, oh, no, we're not going to do that today. And then they start winning. And I'm just like, what is going on here? Either they want it or don't want it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Either the Yankees either want it or they don't want it. And at this point in time, it's very hard not to say that they may or may not have that in them right now, unless some drastic change comes. The bullpen over the last few games have been terrible. They've allowed more runs than I've ever seen in the last few outings that they had. And most of our starting pitchers have done well, but it's not enough. It's just not enough.
No. And I want to piggyback off what you said. Alex Verdugo, and we'll take a deep dive into Alex Verdugo. But Alex Verdugo, what are you doing? Not hustling out of that box. The one thing Yankee fans, we've been screaming about Gleyber Torres is his hustle. It's his hustle. But for some reason, Alex Verdugo is getting a pass when he shouldn't be getting a pass. This is the guy that our captain, Aaron Judge, this is a guy that apparently he wanted over the past 2 years, and he was pushing for Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone to get. Well, guess what? We got him. He was good for the first 2 months of the season. Well, guess what? He's been the total opposite, 180 since those first 2 months of the season. And I wish, Ghost, that we lived in a day and age where teams, you get rewards or you get championships for the first 2 months of the season. Reality is you got to play 162 games, and 162 games is 162 games. You can't just live off the fact that you was good for the first 2 months of the season. You've been playing under 500 since the beginning of June. You can't live with that, right? Because reality is you aren't looking like a team that wants to be serious when it comes to the postseason. You can't. How can any of us take you serious, especially when you have Jason Dominguez in the minors killing it? He had another home run yesterday at opposite field blast. But for some reason, we have to believe that Alex Verdugo is the best choice right now.
It's frustrating, Hector, and I agree with you. But at the same time, what excuses do you have? Every time I hear Aaron Boone on the mic, it's just another excuse to protect your guy. And I understand that. But when someone is not doing good, it's not about just you having a conversation defending him to your dying breath. It's about realizing this team is supposed to be a World Series team. And on paper right now, it doesn't look like it. And especially what's going on right now with Verdugo, who hasn't been playing at its best. Yeah, Glaber's been hot a few games, but that doesn't excuse the fact that he hasn't been as great as he should be. But at the same time, we're expected of this team to do better. And this team has to do better. Right now, this is the time to make a run. This is the time to go out there and win games when we need to win games, especially against teams we can win against. And obviously, it's not looking like it is because we're allowing things to happen that shouldn't even be happening. And I think right now, with where the standstill is for this team, it's hard for me not to say that I want them to go all the way because I've preached this many times before, and you know I have. And I've said that this team offensively can destroy and defeat any team when they start off hot and they get on the boards quickly. But if they don't get on the boards quickly, they look diminished and they just don't look like they want to win anymore. And that's awful to see that most of the times when you're looking at this team up and down the lineup, when you see the team and you see the lineup cards, and most of the time we'll have a switch around with Trevino and Wells. And I think a lot of the times a lot more guys want Wells on the lineup more than they do Trevino, and I understand that. But I look at it up and down, and that's a World Series team to me. But there are some players we can switch around and get removed, especially like a Verdugo, to put in a Jason Dominguez who was on fire to come in and help give this team morale and maybe a boost that they could use to finish off the season strong. But I think what worries me more, Hector, is there has to be a change in that bullpen. There has to be a change in that bullpen. That's the biggest problem we're facing. Now, the starting pitching, I think, will be just fine. Once Clark and Luis Hill come back, we can make some adjustments and tune in some things we can do to make the starting pitching a little bit better and keep that what it is. But the bullpen cannot continue to allow to get scores off of them when they need to be lights out every time they go out.
Yeah, no, 100%. I want to take some time to shout out the chat. My guy Nosebleed section with a great point. The World Series teams from last year were wild card teams. So there is a belief that you no longer need to win a division to make it. Just be hot at the right time. The Yankees are bad at home. Nosebleed, yes, right? But the only difference when you look at this Yankee team and those teams that were in the World Series, the Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers, the stark difference between the New York Yankees this year and those teams from last year, they had a closer. Both teams, they had a closer. New York Yankees right now, we don't know who's our closer anymore. Clay Holmes, he ain't the closer no more. So the Yankees said that they're going to get creative when it comes to the closing position. But no, you're right on, Nosebleed. In this day and age, in the new Rob Manfred divisions and the Rob Manfred style of baseball, we got the extra running and extra innings, and now you got an extra wild card team. So nowadays you got more teams competing for a playoff spot. You got more parity in Major League Baseball. In years past, teams that were the third wild card team or the second wild card team at the trade deadline, they would have sold off those pieces. They would have traded away their players trying to get prospects to try to rebuild. Right now in 2024, teams aren't doing that. Right? Unless you're really out of it, like the Chicago White Sox, you're going to try to hold on to whatever talent you have so you could try to make that third wild card spot. Because teams, at the end of the day, they want the money. And what's the money that's involved with making it to the postseason goes? It's the ad revenue. And it's a shared pool that if you make it to the postseason, no matter if you're just a wild card team or you're eliminated in the first round, if you make it into the postseason, you get to be a part of that shared pool and you get some of that money. And teams at the end of the day, yeah, it's a game, but it's a business. And we got to always remember profits come first, people come second. Point blank, period.
I agree, Hector. And I think a lot of times you look at the revenue and you see stars that are coming to this team and you put a lot of those butts on those seats. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously Juan Soto is the biggest ticket out there right now with the New York Yankees and, of course, Aaron Judge and many other players in the team. But I think right now a lot of fans that are looking at this are just as angry as a lot of us are because we want to win. We want to show the one person that's on this team that we want to re-sign back, that we want to win. And we also want to show him what it is to have a New York Yankee playoff atmosphere so that he can exude that, feel that energy, feel that incredible moment where Yankee fans, young and old, are waving their blue and white flags for the New York Yankees or just screaming to see the boys win a World Series. That is something that I want him to feel and to enjoy. But right now, we're talking about re-signing a man and seeing what he's seeing. And it worries me because I think if he continues to see stuff like this, it might sway him to not want to re-sign. And that scares me because seeing how the team is, and you're right there at the brim of maybe even winning your division, and you're seeing this team struggling at points where you shouldn't be struggling. So my question to you is, Hector, do you find that a little bit concerning that might sway Juan Soto for re-signing if he continues to see this team struggle at a point where we might even end up at second place and still going to the playoffs and maybe even struggling then with the bullpen and maybe even the offense if it's not going early?
Yeah, I want to say this. If you're a Yankee fan out there and you don't and you think that none of this is a concern to Juan Soto, you need to take the coal out your eyes. You need to open up your eyes. You have to ask yourself something. If you're a major league player, if you're on the precipice of signing a record-breaking contract in Major League Baseball, where you have to sign with a franchise and a city for the next 10 to 15 years, you got to ask yourself, do you want to sign with an organization that's incompetent, or do you want to sign with an organization that looks like they know what they're doing? And as of right now, September 5th, 11:12 in the morning, the New York Yankees do not look like an organization that know what they're doing right now. And Yankee fans, you may hate me for what I'm about to say, but I'm going to tell you this right now. The New York Mets look more like an organization that know what they're doing than the New York Yankees do. The Mets started the season horrible, one of the worst starts that you could ever get. Over the past month, they have the best record in baseball. Over the past 2 months, they have revitalized their season. They revitalized their fan base. If you don't think Juan Soto is seeing what's happening in Queens with Francisco Lindor, who's having the best season of his career, his best season with the New York Mets, you are delusional if you're a Yankee fan and you don't think that this dysfunction is getting to Juan Soto, because it absolutely is. Look at what David Stern did. Just check this out. Last offseason, he signed Justin Verlander and Matt Scherzer to record contracts, right? That didn't work out. What did Steve Cohen do? He ate that money at the trade deadline. And what happened? They was able to revitalize their prospects, their farm system. They got more prospects into the system. And this year, both Matt Scherzer and Justin Verlander, they didn't meet the requirements for their contract. So Steve Cohen is off the books. He doesn't have to pay that money no more. They just cleared their books for next year without having to even touch their prospects. So I'm saying all of this, Yankee fans, you have to be nervous. Steve Cohen has a big wallet. He has a big paycheck. He can do whatever he wants. And David Stern is acquiring the prospects that you need to acquire in order to build a team for the postseason. Look at the signings of Sean Manaea and Luis Severino. Ghost, I'm asking you this right now. Would you take Luis Severino in this rotation?
Oh, yeah, without question. He's been performing great.
Right now.
Yeah, of course.
But we threw him to the side. We threw him to the side. And right now, he's looking like one of the best pitchers in that Mets staff.
Absolutely, and he's proven to do that over that one-year contract that he's gotten, and he's shown to be that guy. I think the Yankees were just concerned to see if he still had that kind of, formalities of him being the same pitcher that he was before. And I wanted to give him a chance, but then the Yankees sought to get after other players, which I understand. But to your point, Hector, about the Mets, I want to applaud them. They had the worst season imaginable, and for them to do a 180 and turn it around to not only be in place to get into the playoffs in a wild card run against Atlanta, which to falter, Atlanta has suffered a lot of injuries. But for them to turn it around, to really find the feng shui to come out of it and really play as a team and to continue to hustle and win, I applaud them for that. I'm not going to ever disrespect the Mets. I've always made some comments here and there, and everyone knows it's New York first, New York always. That's the statement that I've stood for years, and everyone knows that. But at the end of the day, when you see another team that's doing things correctly, performing well, making adjustments, making the necessary changes to win, that is a bad sign that Juan Soto is going to want to look at that and go, oh, they're actually wanting to win. They're actually making the adjustments to want to win a World Series. Unlike us, who are trying to play the politics game with our team, with our players, over a draft pick? Over a draft pick? Really? You're worried about a draft pick over winning a World Series? Really? That's just going to show Juan Soto that you don't want to win. That's what that's showing him. That's showing him that you don't want to win.
And you know what's crazy? He's not going to be eligible for that draft pick. He's accumulated more than 60 at-bats at the major league level. We don't have a draft pick to try to get. we don't have nothing.
It's ridiculous.
So the excuses is just that. It's excuses. And it goes back to the conversation that we started at the beginning of this show. Can we take the New York Yankees serious? And I don't think so. Shout out to Fox Sports. They put it out there, one of their analysts. I think the Orioles are going to win, talking about the division. And the reasoning why is there's something going on with the New York Yankees. You can see they are not playing inspired baseball when they have to. And as a fan, that's frustrating. It's frustrating that I have to sit home, right? I have to wait till 8 o'clock at night to watch the New York Yankees because they're playing in Texas, and you give me that garbage. That's the product you have on the field. And to make it even worse, Aaron Boone taking guys out. What do you take? Make those guys play. And you talk about the turf, bro. It's September 4th. It's September 5th. I mean, what are we talking about? Why is Trent Grisham hitting a grand slam and pimping it? Why is he pimping you're down 10-2, now 10-6. Why are you pimping a grand slam like you just walked off the game? And then you see the guys in the dugout. Yes, they're celebrating, and I'm all for them being supportive of their teammate, but there's a time and place for everything. And last night, that was not the time nor the place. When you're down by that much and you decide to pimp a grand slam, that's not Yankee baseball. That's not Yankee baseball I don't like whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't like it.
We got my guy Damien backstage. Let's bring up the fly guy, Damien Serrano. Damien, let me get a thumbs up, brother. Let me know you're ready to rock out, my guy, Damien. The fly guy is in the building. Damien Serrano, how you doing, baby?
Good, man. Hector Ghost, my man. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Dame? How you doing?
I'm better now, man. I cooled off. Last night. Last night I was teed, man. I was pissed. I gotta admit, I was pissed off last night.
You and me both,
but it was rightfully so, Dane. You know, seeing what the product that we're seeing on the field, this is not inspiring baseball. As a fan, this doesn't inspire me to want to go to the stadium and buy a ticket and, you know, spend my hard-earned money at the stadium. I'm not inspired to do that at the moment, especially with what we're seeing, right? I got another graphic I want to bring up, and I'll toss it over to Damien to get his take. But my guy, Randy Wilkes, this is the guy who did the Derek Jeter documentary. Great Yankee fan. He has great takes. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. But Randy said, culture matters. It can be reflected in the team's performance. All of the poor characteristics the Yankees are displaying are allowed and are protected. The sloppiness, the inconsistent effort / compete, the lack of urgency show up all the time. These things are accepted without consequences. And that's the issue that most Yankee fans are having right now. We were screaming for Aaron Boone to bench Gleyber Torres, right? Bench Gleyber. He finally benched Gleyber, and look what happened. Gleyber, since being a leadoff hitter, he's hitting well over 300. He is crushing it right now at the leadoff spot, right? But for some reason, Alex Verdugo is not getting the same treatment that Gleyber Torres got. Damien, I want to get your thoughts on that real quick, and then toss it over to toss it over to Ghost, and then folks in the chat, let's get your comments as well. Go ahead, Dave.
So I was listening prior to getting on, and you know, looking at that graphic, there's one guy that I'm going to blame for this entire situation, and that's House Labreno. And I'll tell you why. House spends the money, as we all know, right? But you guys talked earlier about the Mets, right?
Yeah.
Steve Cohen, businessman like Hal, knew something was not right. He made the decision, A, to get rid of his GM, which got booted by MLB anyway, brought in David Stearns. Secondly, 8 contracts that needed to be eaten. And started fresh, got a new voice, and got new blood in. Meanwhile, Hal Steinbrenner continues to accept what Cashman has done since 2009, after the championship. He continues to accept mediocrity. He continues to accept somebody who continues to spend his money irresponsibly, negligently, and continues to accept Cashman allowing Aaron Boone to be a leader of men, which he's not. Alex Verdugo last night, right? We talked about that earlier. I was infuriated. He's walking down the line with his bat in his hand, literally walking, barely jogging. Even when he got a hit, he ain't been really jogged to first base. And then to sit there 10-2, and you got smiles on your face, you're joking. There's no jokes in the whole situation. And meanwhile, you have Aaron Boone sitting there accepting it and saying it's okay. It's okay to play this way. And he's made excuses for him before. He's been doing this the last 2-3 months. I'll hit a ground ball. Well, Alex is just frustrated that a lot of people don't realize his care. Listen, this team needs a new face. If anybody in their right minds think that this team is nothing but mediocre and average behind Aaron Boone, you're kidding yourself. Because as long as Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman are at the helm, this team will, no matter what superstars you have, I don't care if it's Soto, I don't care if it's Judge, I don't care if you go out and get Tarek Skubal, I don't care who you get. The team will always be mediocre as long as these two people are at the helm. Yeah, and you don't bring in new blood.
I always compare it to, if you guys ever worked in like the service industry, I've had the pleasure of working in many restaurants and bars and stuff like that. If you have a horrible general manager, the restaurant and bar is going to be shit. It doesn't matter how good the food is. Yeah. It doesn't matter how great the service is from your staff. If your general manager is not leading the shit properly, if the schedule is not getting posted properly, if paychecks aren't getting paid properly, you're going to have issues, right? And it all starts at the top and it trickles down. It doesn't trickle from the bottom up. We all know what gravity, we've been to science class. We know what gravity is. Gravity comes from top to the bottom, not the bottom up. And when you look at this organization, it's a top up issue. It starts at the top and it trickles down to the bottom. Like you said, yes, Brian Cashman is the GM. Aaron Boone is the manager. But the person on top, Hal Steinbrenner, needs to take accountability. Hal Steinbrenner needs to take accountability for how this organization is run right now. It is not a serious franchise. What's the serious franchise in New York City is the New York Mets when it comes to baseball, because they've been winning over the past 2 months. They've done that. And I'm somebody that, yes, I work for Latino Sports. I cover the Yankees. I make Yankee content and Yankee graphics. But when I have to make stuff about the Mets, I enjoy it because they're fucking winning. I'm sorry for cursing like that, but they're winning and they're putting a product on the field that are making their fans excited to want to go to the ballpark and think about the future. Right now, when it comes to the Yankees, when we think about the future, all we have to look forward is to Brian Cashman not bringing up Jason Dominguez, Brian Cashman not bringing up Spencer Jones, Brian Cashman trading off a prospect, and you see what Trey Turner is doing with the Detroit Tigers right now. That's the frustrating part, and that's what Yankee fans we got to look forward to from the future. We got somebody backstage that I want to bring up, right? A good friend of mine. She hasn't been on the show in a while because we took a hiatus, and she's back. But I got to bring up my good friend, Erica Garcia, because Erica, I know she got some stuff to get off her chest. Erica, Virgo Squad is in the building. Happy belated birthday, Erica.
Thanks, guys. How's everyone doing outside of the Yankees ruining our lives?
Exactly that.
Dude, I didn't even. I'll tell you right now. I called it after the loss game 2 of this series, I didn't even want to watch last night. I knew that they were going to come out flat. I knew that nothing was going to change. I had a feeling. I was like, there goes another lost series. And like to your guys' point, it just feels like Cashman does things to spite us. I've been saying it all season. He thinks that it's like he wants to force his idea so badly and prove that it's going to work so bad that he's just like, no, I'm not gonna make those. Because like you said, Hector, every move that we have been pleading for, like bench Glaber, start Austin Wells, you know, I mean Cabrera, whatever. But it all worked out, and I feel like it pisses him off. It's like, damn it, I wanted it to be proved wrong, you know?
Yeah.
The forcing DJ down our throats, you know. I understand there wasn't much options there. But try Cabrera. Why did it take till the last straw to start Cabrera at first? He just started last week, you know, and then Rizzo back. Like, why did it take the game before Rizzo coming back for you to do it? Why does it take 11 blown saves? 11 blown saves for you to now decide what other options you have. Like, what? Why do we keep forcing it? And it's like there's no sense of urgency. So now, guess what? You're a half game back because you're trying to force moves. And I don't know. I don't know if we can get over this hill. I mean, we've been asking for the same things over and over since June. This is the team, guys. Reinforcements isn't going to change anything. We've gotten reinforcements. Efros is set back down. You know, Tompkins obviously got cut. What are the reinforcements? I mean, even with the trade deadline, Mark Leiter, wash. The dude that they got from the Padres, a wash. Thank goodness Jazz has worked out.
Tell me why Scott Efros got sent back down and Mark Leiter is still on this team. Explain that to me. Makes no sense.
Again, Cashman has to prove that his moves are the greatest moves. Like I just that's what it feels like. So yeah, I'm extremely frustrated. It feels like they think we're idiots. You know, we have access to analytics too. If you want to go by analytics and not go based on heart or whatever, then we could pull up analytics and prove you wrong as well. But they think we're idiots. I mean, I watch their shows. You know, the guys at I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but John Boy Media, they put Aaron Boone on the hot seat, and he just tries to make them like idiots. They have a show on for a reason. Like,
you know, speaking of that, what bothered me the most is Michael K. Because Michael K. I was listening to Michael K. and he's talking about those guys, right? And he says,
"What happened?"
Oh, Damien cut off. Hold on, let me bring it right back. Go ahead, Damien.
He's like, what do you expect when Aaron Boone decided to go on interviews with fans? And I'm like, hold on, Michael K. You're the biggest fan of them all because you got a degree. Don't make you nothing but a bona fide fan with a degree. So I don't want to even hear that. Yeah. And tell me why. Again, this falls on Boone too because you had DJ LeMahieu in the 8th inning in that second game. Listen, Clay Holmes should have never blown that save. Why? Because Rizzo came up the 9th inning and pinch hit for DJ. Why wasn't he in as a defensive replacement in the 8th? Makes no sense to me.
Head scratcher.
So, again, this I hate to say it. You know, we all had all this expectations with Soto coming in, and rightfully so. But as long as these two guys are at the helm, and specifically Boone with his boneheaded decisions, why did it take you so long to figure out that Clay Holmes is not a closer? Is beyond me. He blew his last 8 out of 12. It's frustrating, man. I have no words, man. I really don't. It's so frustrating.
I'll throw it over to Ghost. I just want to highlight some of the people that's in the chat. Call me Chef in the building. How can I join the broadcast to one event, discuss the truth? Oh, don't worry, Chef. We're going to go back to the open panels and bring up everybody. But yeah, you're more than welcome to come up and vent. Trust me. I'm not sure if this is the fake Bernie Williams, but shout out to Bernie Williams in the chat. We are going to have Bernie Williams on the show September 23rd. So make sure you guys mark that in your calendar. Bernie Williams will be on the show. September 10th, I will be at Yankee Stadium. a part of Hispanic Heritage Month with the media. So, you know, shout out to the New York Yankees putting that together. Make sure you guys go and support Latino sports. The link to the website is in the description of this video. On top of it, I'm working on bringing the founder and the founder of Latino Sports, Julio Pabon. I'm setting up an interview for him to come on so he could talk to you guys, so you guys can get to know more of him and Latino sports and everything we're doing over there, because we're doing a lot of great work. Shout out my guy Richie Rivera and Empire State of Baseball. ESB is in the building. Rich, how you doing? Call me Chef is piggybacking off what Erica said. Cash and Booney both think that they are the smartest people in the room, and it's upsetting and it's maddening. Thank you to my girlfriend who put the link for Latino sports in the chat. So if you guys can, when you guys go on the website, it helps generate revenue for Latino sports, so it helps us out. You could just go to the website, refresh the browser, check out some of the articles. It helps us out with the ad revenue over there. Ghost, I'll toss it over to you to get your take, continue the conversation, and I got something else that I want to bring up, but go ahead, Ghost.
It's frustrating, right? Because you see the changes there that you could make to make this team better, but all of this is just because if we do this, it's going to hurt Hal Steinbrenner's ego. Because that's really what it is at this point. Because he knows that he's trying to shove things down our throats that we don't like. And we see that we can make the changes right then and there to fix these problems. But instead, he'd rather put it on Boone and Cashman to say, this is my way. If you don't like it, oh well. But you guys are going to have to face the consequences because this is my team, not yours. So he's sitting there going and scratching his head thinking, let me do this, let me do that, let me protect this, let me protect that. But instead, it's hurting this team. It's hurting this team bad because he's constantly putting them in a position that they can't win. And that's not what Yankee fans want. Because he's constantly sitting there, putting his finger down, and maybe I'm not going to sit here and put all the blame on Boone. I'm not sitting here putting all the blame on Cashman because a lot of those decisions become only Hal Steinbrenner's decisions. Whenever he tells them is what's going to happen. At the end of the day, I can sit here and get mad at all of them for all the decisions they've made as to this point. But right now, if you really want to think about it, it's his ego that's going to get hurt the most. If we do things that we think make sense and this team flourishes and he realizes his ideas didn't work, it's only going to hurt his ego even more because he realized that he should have just stuck with what he had and made the right decisions for us to win. Because right now, do you think this team is ready to go to a World Series like this? Do you really think that starting pitcher is going to go out there winning the World Series like this? Do you really trust that fucking bullpen? And I apologize for swearing, Hector. I do. But this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And then what happened with Verdugo? I was fuming with anger. Fuming.
That's the most frustrating part.
That was ridiculous. How in the blue hell do you expect to motivate anybody with that attitude? Really?
Yeah.
And then he's been struggling for the past few weeks, unable to get a hit. And anytime he gets a hit or two, it's ridiculous. Like, really? You can't excuse that. And then when Boone had that interview to try to defend Verdugo, I'm like, are you kidding me? How many more excuses do you have in the bag? Like, oh my God, you have exhausted those damn excuses. There's no excusing bad playing. You have to make a decision right now. Because if you don't do this, this is going to cost the team, and it might quite possibly cost us getting Juan Soto to come back.
Yeah.
You know what's sad is I don't think...
Call me Chef said it perfectly, right? He says, we have the talent, but in our current state, no, we are not a World Series caliber team.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dave. My fault about that.
What I was going to say was I don't even think that Hal's even that involved, to be honest with you. I think the strings are all pulled by Cashman. And Cashman goes to Hal, tells him what he's going to do, and Hal says, okay. Other than the fact that Judge, with Hal having to step in with that, I think that's about as much as Hal is involved. When you go on to an interview and you say to the reporters preseason, we're focused on bunting, then that should tell you how much Hal is actually involved. So the strings are being pulled by Cashman, have always been pulled by Cashman. Since George has passed away, since Hank passed away, the strings have been given and everything's been given. The keys have been given to Cashman. Since Hank, if Hank was still involved, because, after George was Hank, right? It's Hank and Hal. Hank was just like George. Hank passed away. Then it was left to Hal. Hal said, what do? I didn't want this in the first place. And that is not an opinion. That is fact. That's fact.
That has been out of his own mouth.
That's been published. So what did he do? He said, Cashman, here are the keys. You run it. I'll provide the money. If I ever have to step into something, I'll let you know. And we see how much he's had to step in because the team shows it.
I want to pull up some comments real quick before we switch gears. Call Me Chef said, did you guys notice their interaction with Doogie and the rest of the bench. Body language says it all. They're getting tired of his act. And I remember Ghost, Eric, I'm not sure you was there. Damien, I'm not sure if you was there, but we were having a space a couple of months ago, right? And there was a Boston Red Sox fan who came in and who was you remember that, right, Dame? Scorching Alex Verdugo. Oh, I can't stand Alex Verdugo or whatever. And I was like, listen, I appreciate Verdugo for being Latino. I like that saying, you know, you're gonna get tired of it. Trust me. And guess what? I wish I could find that dude and give him a hug because he is absolutely right. I am tired of Alex Verdugo. And I got a little something that I put together because I think this correlates of what it's like watching the 2024 New York Yankees. And this is really what it's like watching the New York Yankees. I feel so bad for Aaron Judge because he has been having, minus last year from his injury, he has been having historic seasons, and the New York Yankees are wasting his prime. New York Yankees are wasting the prime of Garrett Cole. I know he was injured this year, but we're wasting it. And for some reason, we decided to waste the 1 year we may have Juan Soto in a Yankees uniform. We decided that we're not going to go all in. At the trade deadline, we got Mark Leiter and De Los Santos. Both of their ERAs combined is over 7. What is Garrett Crochet? I mean, not Garrett Crochet. What is the other reliever from the White Sox that was traded for the Dodgers? Kopech. He's pitching to an ERA of 1.05 with the Dodgers. Look at that. But for some reason,
up Michael Vargas for him, which is nothing.
Not even top 10 prospects they gave up for him. But for some reason, the New York Yankees, we want to hold on to prospects that are 17 and 18 years old. We're not even talking about Dominguez or Spencer Jones. No, we're talking about your other prospects. By the time they come up, Aaron Judge is going to be cashing his Social Security check. Let's be real. They're not going to be contributing to this team when Aaron Judge is towards the end of his career, point blank period. Erica, let's get your take on that before we switch gears, and we got to talk about this Yankees bullpen because this Yankee bullpen, oh my God, they're going to get creative. But go ahead, Erica.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like there wasn't much options at the deadline. The prices were crazy high. But looking back, I'm like, damn, I wish we would have traded somebody for him. You know, I do feel bad for Aaron Judge, but your captain, he's the voice of that locker room. He's the leader. So I don't know what he's doing in that clubhouse to try to right the ship. I mean, you see him. He's a great leader on the field. You see it, you know, he shows it, but I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Everyone talks so highly about him, but I just feel like it's part of his job to, you know, set that culture right when things are going bad. And it looks like there's no turnaround at this point. So, but my only saving grace is that we still have Aaron Judge and Juan Soto on this team when we do go into the playoffs. I just don't trust the Yankees in a 3-game series, and that's really why I need them to get first place. I understand that you get the bye or whatever, and that might hurt you. But this team in a 3-game series, I mean, look, we just lost to the Raiders. We lost to the Nationals. You think that we're going to be good in a 3-game series against the Guardians or something? Like, that's not going to happen. So that's mostly why I need the Yankees to turn it around and fight for first place. But it feels like the boy who cried wolf. I don't think that it's going to happen because we've been asking for this forever. We said August is going to come. Their schedule lightens up, and we're still talking about the same weapons. So at that point, this is the team, and this is what we're going to deal with. And don't act surprised when the little things that have become big issues that have happened in the regular season happen in the playoffs. Because this is going to happen. We're going to be yelling into the void of nothing. And when you actually look back on the season, you're like, well, we shouldn't be surprised because it's been happening all year.
Yeah, I'm just happy that I have a media pass now, so I don't got to pay to go to these horrible ass games. So I don't have to waste my money to watch this team lose the way that they're losing. Listen, I'm a diehard Yankee fan. You guys know that. I've been rooting for the Yankees ever since I was a child. Right when I first started watching baseball, it was the New York Yankees, and right now, I think it's a combination from last year and this year. Last year, we got pushed to the ledge, right? We was pushed to the ledge, right? This offseason, the whole Yamamoto Soto thing, we was pushed to the ledge. We got Juan Soto at spring training, was beautiful. The start of the season, Erica, you was there opening day. I was there opening day. It was beautiful. Even though we lost, it was still nice to be in the building. Juan Soto, the love affair for Juan Soto. That's all cute. That's cute. The cuteness is for the first 2 months of the season. Cuteness, you can throw that shit out the door. We're not. This is not cute time right now. This is the time where you're supposed to get serious. This is the time where you're supposed to lock in. And like my guy Chef said in the chat, looking at the body language dictates a lot. And it seems like Alex Verdugo's teammates, they're just tired of his shit. They're just frustrated with it. And to go on top of it, you got Trent. If I'm Trent Grisham, I'm pimping home runs too, no matter how much I'm down. This is something I forgot to say earlier, because I need to show you that I'm better than Alex Verdugo. If you're Trent Grisham, you have to watch Alex Verdugo not hustle down the first baseline. You have to watch Alex Verdugo play piss poor defense in the outfield when you've won a Gold Glove, and you have to sit behind him. Your bench for Alex Verdugo, a lefty hitter who has no heart, who has no hustle. No. So if I'm Trent Grisham, I would have pimped that home run too, because I have something to prove to Aaron Boone. Trent Grisham, as of right now, he deserves more playing time than Alex Verdugo. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. But don't worry, guys. The year-long audit, which ends at the end of the year, is going to fix everything. The year-long audit. So it's going to fix it all.
Yeah.
Real quick, you know what pisses me off is that Verdugo, let's just say he starts tomorrow. And if he gets a hit or two, it buys him another week. And that's one less week that we get Jason Dominguez up here. Because that's the reason I have a big reason that Jason Dominguez did not get called up in September is because Alex Verdugo had a good week. And they were like, oh, we can't sit him now.
Yep.
we can't bring in this guy and have him worried that he's going to lose his job, because now he's hot for 5 days. And the same thing with DJ. DJ gets 2 hits, and it buys him 2 weeks. That's the problem. They look at that one game over all the other 100 games that they were terrible in.
Yeah.
So annoying.
And you should look, that right there, that example that you just laid out, Erica, that should wake Yankee fans up and let us know that the focus from this team is not about winning. Right? Because if it was about winning, then you call up Jason Dominguez. Last year, when they called up Jason Dominguez, why did they call him up? Because fans stopped going to games. They needed to have butts in the seats. So they called up Jason Dominguez. He was on fire for a whole week. Yankee fans thought, oh my God, this is when we turn it around. We can make the postseason. He gets injured, and Yankee fans stopped going to Yankee Stadium. It was a business move last year. And for some reason, right now, why are you not putting baseball over business? Why are you trusting Alex Verdugo, who was shipped off from the Dodgers, who was shipped off from the Red Sox? He's in his 3rd spot right now, having the worst season of his career. But for some reason, no.
I just want to understand.
Shout out to the fake Stephen A. Smith that's in the chat. Shout out to you, my guy. I've had the pleasure of meeting the actual Stephen A. Smith at WFAN. So shout out to the fake Stephen A. Smith. Appreciate you, big fella.
I'm just trying to understand what the Yankees and Aaron Judge. I'm putting this on Aaron Judge too, because Aaron Judge vouched for having Verdugo come on, right? I'm trying to understand what made them think if Alex Cora, okay, and listen, he's a Red Sox. We all know this, but I respect the hell out of him and who he is as a manager. Great manager, has taken mediocre teams like he has so far this season and made them pretty good. What made them think that if Alex Cora could not get 100% out of this player, that Aaron Boone could? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah,
made no sense.
It seemed like Alex Cora was right. Go ahead, Ghost.
No. I just wanted to make a quick point about the Alex Cora thing. I agree, because when you have a good manager, you make good decisions. And right now, Boone hasn't made one good decision since the end of the season going forward where it is now. And with Verdugo, I'll give credit to Verdugo. In the beginning, he was good. He was great.
Yeah.
Everybody was happy with him. He was getting hits. He was getting home runs. He was productive. And it's towards the end that he's just not found his swing and he's not found the motivation. Everything has just gone downhill for him. I'm not gonna throw the rock at him too much because I agree he did help us at the beginning of the season. He has given us a little bit of a lift, and he has done that. But right now, you're not doing that right now for me. You are struggling, and you can't even realize it. Your own teammates are noticing it. The body language is being noticed. They're just sick of this position that they're in to dealing with Doogie, and I understand that. But if you're the Yankees, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, do you want to win a World Series, or do you want to continue to look like fools against teams we should be winning against? Do you want to continue to be laughed at by our fan base that continues to see us making very horrible decisions because we can't figure it out? Like, that's embarrassing. That is embarrassing because every year we're going back to the same cycle of shit. Oh, Boone can't control the team. Cashman can't do anything right. Hal Steinbrenner is an idiot. It's the same circle of shit that we have to deal with every single year because they can never figure it out. And I understand getting bullpen help was expensive. Erica made that point. But at the same time, if that was such a big concern, screw how high the prices was. Go get bullpen help. Who cares how high the prices was if it meant sacrificing a few players from our draft picks or even our minor league to get a player that's going to help this team when we need it? Like, what's going on with you? Now, I understand there are some bullpen players right now that I like Luke Weaver at the time was doing great. Mark Leiter was doing okay. Caleb Ferguson at the time before he got sent off was doing okay. A lot of the people, Ron Marinaccio was doing fine. I still have a lot of faith in that kid. I hope he comes back and he still kind of turns it around on us. But he keeps getting sent down. He keeps getting brought back up. It's just ridiculous. Scott Afros, after one game, got sent back down, like you just said, Dame. What's going on here? You have to figure it out with this bullpen because this is going to be the bullpen we're going to take to the playoffs. And these guys can't control what's going to happen. They can't get strikeouts and they allow more runs that they can count in their left and right hands. It's not good. It's crazy.
Want to shout out some people that's in the chat. My guy Future's in the building. Was good, Fly Guy. Richie Martinez also said Manfred is trying to make like the NFL, where if any wild card teams are not, they go all the way. No, absolutely, and that's what I feel. My guy Jacob Petruzzi in the chat says people are delusional if they think Boone gets fired. If he didn't get fired after 82 and 80, why would he this year? And I see what Jacob is saying there, and there's going to need to be a fall guy. Brian Cashman is not going to be the fall guy. If Juan Soto walks and signs with the Mets, Aaron Boone is done. He's done. That's the first thing. He's going to be the fall guy. He's going to be the player.
That's why he came into the season without a contract.
It's just sad that the best manager in New York is a guy that we had on our staff. It's the guy that we had on our staff. It's the guy that was Aaron Boone's bench coach. It's the guy that was on our staff. Anytime Boone got ejected, he took over the games. Mendy. And for some reason, the Yankees decided, no, Aaron Boone is the better choice. And now Mendy, Carlos Mendoza, he's in talk for manager of the year because of the season that that the Mets are having, the turnaround that the Mets are having. When you have Met players speaking so highly of your manager, that goes a long way. And it's sad that the New York Yankees, we had him and then we let him go. And then we let him, not only did we let him go to our crosstown rivals, to the New York Mets, and it stings just a little bit more. Somebody put it in the chat. The Red Sox sending Verdugo to the Yankees is the most there it is. Boston sent the problem to the Yankees, the most diabolical move that can happen. Yes, it's a chess move. That was a chess move from the Boston Red Sox. Yeah. And I know it's 11:48. We go to rock out just for a little bit more. I want to respect people's time, but we got one more topic to talk about, and we got to talk about this Yankee bullpen. I know we touched on it a little bit, but as of right now, the Yankees, they have the 15th highest ERA in all of Major League Baseball, a 4.20 ERA. Talking Yanks put it out there. Aaron Boone said the Yankees will get creative with the closer role in the short term and said never say never when asked if Luis Hill or Clark Smith could be a late inning option. Boone also said Clay Holmes could still be in the mix. So, of course, you know, you never know what Aaron Boone is really meaning because Clay Holmes is apparently is still in the mix. The one thing I'm going to say is ever since 2016 was the last time the New York Yankees had a bullpen ERA this high. That was the beginning of the Aaron Judge era. That's when A-Rod was forced to retire. We traded pieces away or whatever. From 2017 to last year, the New York Yankees had 6 or whatever seasons in a row of having a bullpen ERA, either top 5 or top 10, right? That's been the one thing. Like we talked about it this offseason, right? The one thing we could put our hands on is that at least Brian Cashman knows how to put together a good bullpen. At least the Yankees bullpen have been good for the past few years. That was the one thing that we weren't concerned about when talking about the rotation and talking about the lineup. The one thing that we were not concerned about is the bullpen. And it seems like the bullpen is the biggest culprit so far this season, especially in the last 2 months. So, Dame, I'll toss it over to you. What do you make of the arroz con culo?
Listen, we all talk about the trade deadline, right? And a lot of people are angry that the Yankees didn't go out and do something in the trade deadline. But really, they dropped the ball in the offseason. That's when things should have been done. That's when Cashman should have got cooking and fixed the bullpen where it needed to be fixed. There's no way in my mind that the Yankees really thought Clay Holmes is a sufficient closer. I don't care what metric, what number you see. It never showed that he was a good closer. Never. 7th, 8th inning guy, sure, you can put him there. But the guy, I said it before, Hector, he's weak. He's weak-minded. He cannot handle that type of pressure. And for them at the beginning of the season to give this guy a walkout song blew my mind because he had accomplished nothing. What did you accomplish? Nothing. You have better options. Listen, at this point, Tommy Kahley should be given an option to close out games. He's one. Listen, if anybody has the mental fit to handle it, it's Tommy. He's a little wacko in the head. He's a little cuckoo, and typically closers are a little off, right? So you look at the Brian Wilsons of the world with the Giants, a little off. The kid from Houston, he's a little off. The Yankees didn't want to pay him, and that's fine. But they got to really figure it out. You got Ian Hamilton in the fold coming back as another guy who can obviously pitch the 8th, 9th inning, either one. But Clay Holmes should never touch the field for at least a couple weeks. Let that guy, let him get literally a mental reset. Let him go home, do whatever he needs to do. I'm not sure, but he should not touch the field really for the rest of the season. And, have him work on whatever he needs to work on. But from that point on, he should never be a closer again. And he blew his closer money because he's not going to get closer money at the end of the season either. And this is probably the last season that we could have to see him and deal with him. And if not, again, another Cashman special, another $2-3 million contract for him. Realistically, it should be Luke Weaver in the 7th, Ian Hamilton in the 8th, Kahley in the 9th, or flip-flop. Hamilton 9th, Kahley in the 8th. But at the end of the day, that's the biggest issue right now is the bullpen really and pitch in general. Stroman shit the bed last night. We all seen that. Had a few good starts, but ultimately the bullpen is the biggest hurdle on this team besides the lack of motivation, besides the lack of leadership, besides the lack of organization, period. Because this team is not organized in any business, in any sport. It don't matter what it is. I don't care if it's the Burger King line. There's an organization to that. There's, you have to do it a certain way. And there is none. And there's no accountability. And at the end of the day, come October, we're all going to be sitting at home watching another team in the World Series, watching another team in the ALCS, watching another team in the NLDS. It's not going to be the Yankees. They're more than likely going to be a first-round goodbye.
Oh yeah, and get ready for the tears that's going to be going on in Yankees Twitter when Juan Soto's press conference with the New York Mets is announced. Just wait for the tears and frustrations. I hear Michael Caputo click-clacking away in right now on his computer desk. Go ahead, Erica.
I mean, the bullpen has been the concern. It was always the question at the deadline. What do you want to deal with if you're a Yankee fan? There's so many holes, but what's the glaring issue? And everyone said bullpen, and it's still happening. And it sucks because I feel like it is a product of so many injuries. Loizaga That was huge.
That hurt.
Ian Hamilton, that hurt a lot too. So, and I don't want to talk about things that we've been dealing with since April. I feel like that's an excuse, but it does suck knowing that like we do have the arms that can make a really solid bullpen, but they just haven't been available. But I also really hate where we are as a bullpen because now you're going to potentially mess up your young starters if you're going to try to throw them in the bullpen to throw 1 inning or 2 innings. What is that going to do for them in the long run? I know you got to get creative. I know you got to do whatever it takes to win. We're clamoring for that. Like, that's what we want. If it takes Luis Gil having to close out a game, and I know that that's far-fetched, but just saying, I know that that's something that's been
possibility.
There, but lightning doesn't strike twice. I don't think Luis Gil will ever become Mariano. I think that he would be just like a last resort situation this year, and then he's going to go back to starter next season. Yeah. And how does that mess with you? It's messed with people in the past. Hector mentions it every time we talk about this. It ruined Jabba Chamberlain. Jabba hated that it happened. Even a guy like Phil Hughes, it just wasn't the same after they kept going back and forth with him. So I'm a little nervous about what this means for our young future starters. Clark Schmidt. Who is it going to be? Luis Gil. Even like Nestor, who's, he doesn't look like a number 1 or number 2 starter. But what is that going to do to a guy that's used to a routine of starting every 5th day rather than coming in every other day? So it's a mess. It's a mess. Yeah. I'm glad we're on this side and we don't have to, maneuver through this bullpen. But I'm just concerned at what it's going to do to us. I hope it works out, because I think that if we get our bullpen under control, it is good for us going into the playoffs. But I just like I said, I don't know what the repercussions are going to be from all this movement that's about to happen.
Yeah, no, 100%. Shout out, folks in the chat. My guy Ness is in the building. FL Diver, Sunil's in the building. My brother TC Stills is in the building. TC, how you doing? Tim King of the Jordans is in the building as well. Tim, how you doing? Salute. Go ahead, Ghost.
Yeah, I definitely think this team is like the Jekyll and Hyde. 1 minute they're fine, they're doing great, everything is Gucci and Prada, we're happy. The next minute we're wanting to throw them in the fire. You can go back to the beginning of the season where things weren't really adding up with the starting pitch and the bullpen, and the hitting was a little bit here and there. And then the bullpen was starting to figure it out, and we had a great bullpen at the beginning of the season, same with the starting pitching. We didn't know where they were going with it, and a lot of the times we were dependent on who was doing what. And then with Garrett Cole having the injury, it really brought this team down. But some of those guys really went up and stepped up, including a Carlos Rodon, including a Marcus Stroman, including a Luis Gil. Those guys stepped up in a time of need when Garrett Cole was gone for a little while, and they stepped up and they proved to us those guys were dogs. At the beginning of the season, they proved, and then a little hiccups came out, and then the bullpen was straight too, was on fire. This team was rolling in and destroying anything that was in front of them, including the bullpen, including even the offense at times where they were scoring 10-plus runs against any team in front of them. And then seeing where they're going now, it just really, as I just mentioned, is a Jekyll and Hyde. Because 1 minute they're doing great, the next minute they're doing awful. We can't figure it out, and we don't know why. And I think the biggest concern to that is where they're going to land when they bring back the players we're talking about, like Clark Schmidt and, of course, a Luis Gil. We don't know what version of those two guys we're going to get. And that scares the ever-living shit out of me because I don't know what we're going to get with those two guys, because I obviously want the Luis Gil who started off the season hot like a monster, dropping 100-mile-an-hour fastballs and just striking people out like nothing, and Clark Schmidt was doing just as fantastic as well before the injury in the oblique. And, of course, seeing all of this really puts me in a very nervous predicament because I don't know what I'm going to see out of this team, because right now we're 80-60 and we don't even know what direction we're going after we finish off the season in September and going into the playoffs, because we don't even know if we're going to be in first place or in the wild card, because right now there needs to be a big decision happening today or tomorrow. One or the other has to happen. Either they bring up somebody like a Jason Dominguez to come and fill in what Verdugo isn't doing for hitting wise, or figure out the bullpen and bringing back somebody up like an Ian Hamilton, or even bring back a Yohendrys Gomez, who I wish would stay in the bullpen, but they keep bringing him down every time, which is a guy we can depend on who has strikeout stuff and has great stuff that he can deliver with. But at the same time, they're too damn inconsistent with who they're going to bring in and who they're going to bring out. And the question you brought up as well with Mark Leiter, why is he still there if he's doing horrible? We don't need to have him here if he's struggling this damn badly and he's not getting what we need out of him, and he's still there. We could have brought this man down and brought someone up who was going to help this team and figure out the bullpen, because obviously he's not helping and neither is Clay Holmes. But we have to figure that out as well, because even with what Aaron Boone said, what solution do you have to bringing in a guy that we can depend on that can get those last 3 strikeouts? Who are you going to depend on? I thought at one point it was Luke Weaver, because that guy was an absolute animal. And Ian Hamilton was someone that I love too. And at the beginning, he was doing fantastic too. So was Caleb. But look at what happened with Caleb. He was doing awful. He couldn't even figure out his stuff most of the time. He was out there throwing those strikes, and he was getting hits off left and right. And I'm thinking here, oh my God, this is getting ridiculous. But I think that is the biggest problem we've had. I think it's just that Jekyll and Hyde situation. We don't know what we're going to get out of anybody or even out of this team, that has put us in a very bad spot, because sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not.
Mark Leiter, I just want to just so everybody knows, Mark Leiter's ERA with the Cubs before being traded to the Yankees, he had a 4.21 ERA. Mark Leiter in the 36 innings he pitched for the Cubs, he gave up 2 home runs, 13 walks. With the Yankees, Mark Leiter has a 5.79 ERA. He's pitched 14 innings, less than half of the innings he pitched with the Cubs, and he's given up more than double the amount of home runs. He's given up 4 home runs with the Yankees. He gave up 2 with the Chicago Cubs. He is on pace to walk more batters and strike out less batters he did with the Chicago Cubs. So when we first got Mark Leiter, we looked at it as like, hey, this is a project for Matt Blake. Matt Blake, he has a lot of these reclamation projects he does great with. Well, guess what? It hasn't worked with Mark Leiter Jr. It hasn't worked with Ellie De Los Santos. Hell, my guy Chief has put it in the chat. A chef put it in the chat. As of right now, give me Jake Cousins. I'd rather Jake Cousins at the end of the game. Call me crazy. I know his cousin, Kirk Cousin, he gets blamed or he gets joked on that he's not a clutch quarterback, can never win a championship or whatever. But how do you know? We got his cousin Jake Cousins, who looks like he could be a closer for this team. His slide out is wipeout. He doesn't have that crazy 199 miles per hour fastball or that heavy sinker like Clay Holmes does. But what he does have, he has strikeout stuff. But it's unknown territory. We don't know if Jake Cousin is going to be effective in the 9th inning like he was in the 7th or 8th inning. We don't know if Tommy Kahnle is going to be effective in the 9th inning like he was in those other innings. Because when you're a regular reliever coming in the 6th, 7th, or 8th inning, you have a safety net behind you. You know that if you mess up, somebody's going to come in to clean that up. If you're a closer, you don't have that safety net. That safety net is out the window. It takes a little bit of a different mental capacity in order to be a closer. It's a different mentality when you're trying to be a closer, closing out these games. And as of right now, the New York Yankees, we don't have a set closer. And I don't know the last time there was a team that won a World Series that didn't have a closer already established. I don't. Can somebody name this random team that never had a closer that coming into September down the stretch run when you're trying to win games? What team didn't have a set closer? Because every other World Series team or every other team that made it to the Champion Series at least had a guy that they designated as their closer. The New York Yankees, we don't have that. And as of right now on September 5th, like I said it earlier, how can we take this team serious? There's no way that we could take this team serious, you know, and not be called delusional Yankee fans. We make fun of delusional Yankee fans. We talk to them here. We call them delusional Yankee fans, and I refuse to be a Delulu Yankee fan. I know right now this team is not built to go deep in the postseason. We could sneak by the wild card. We may win the first round. We could do that. But what's going to happen? We're going to get our asses handed to ourselves by the Houston Astros. And talking about the Houston Astros, what did the Astros do with Jose Abreu in his contract? A big-time contract. They gave him big-time money. What did they do? See you later. Bye-bye. And ate all of that money. But for some reason, Brian Cashman is forcing DJ LeMahieu on us. It's like, you know, like those kid games that it has like the star that goes into the hole that's a star. He has a block. And he's trying to fit it into the star. It doesn't fit. And he's trying to force it to fit. He's going to break the game at the end of the day.
Yeah. Really quick. Yo, Heck, I got to go.
Yeah, we're about to
Ghost,
wrap it up.
Erica, Heck, everybody have a great day. Go Yankees, I guess.
I guess.
Everybody
Let's go football.
Go Giants? No. Listen, we're screwed. New York, we're screwed. Everybody be safe. Let's go Knicks.
Later, Dave. So we're gonna get ready to wrap things up. We had over 60 people watching us collectively. Appreciate all of you guys in the building. If you guys don't mind on YouTube, smack that like button. Let's get the like button to as many likes as possible. Erica, let's get your last take and let's throw it over to Ghost, and we're gonna wrap things up.
I'm just so down right now, to be honest. Like, I don't even know what to say. As far as the bullpen goes with Jake Cousins, I think you try it out. It's going to be closer by committee. He has a nasty slider, but my problem with Jake Cousins is that slider usually isn't in the zone. So if you don't swing on an at bat, he's going to walk you. Kind of a situation with that Clay Holmes has. They need an overpowering arm in the bullpen. They need a guy that's going to throw 99, go and just straight up challenge you. And that's what they're missing. I just feel like all their guys have a lot of movement on their pitches, and it's nice. But when they don't have any command, this is pointless. So, but hey, listen, like I said, and that's why Luis Gil's like, okay, maybe. But we have a series with the Cubs. I don't even know. Like, I'm lost right now. No, we have a series with the Cubs coming up. Don't know who's pitching. Don't know what's going on. I'm just so I'm still hung up on that loss on not yesterday, the day before that. It was like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, I was furious, and it's a good thing that there was a buffer in between days of streams or whatever, because if I wanted there to be a stream right at that night so I could go off. Because they keep losing in the same ways, but they keep putting out the same product, and it's just like so crazy to me. But
I think the way that I was feeling after that game, I think that the YouTube channel would have probably got taken down if I would have went live, because I was the same frustrations you had, Erica. And I feel so bad. Shout out to Grace. Grace wasn't here this morning because she's under the weather, but Grace and her husband were at both of these games because she lives in Texas. So she was there last night and she was there the night before. And she told me, she texted me, she's like, Hector, after that 8th inning and they brought Clay Holmes in, she's like, I walked away. She's like, we left the game. She was like, I knew the game was over. She was like, and I didn't want to be around those Texas Rangers fans, them celebrating walk-off win. And guess what? She was right. So shout out to my friend Grace. She couldn't be here this morning because she's a bit under the weather. So send your prayers to Grace. So hopefully she feel better for Tuesday. Ghost, let's get your last take, mi hermano.
Well, the only thing I'm looking forward to is that Jets 49ers game. And I get to see the boys in green go back out in the field again, and that's going to make me happy. That's about the only thing that's making me happy at this point, because either they have to figure something out. I understand there really isn't much they can do. Maybe switch around the bullpen again. Maybe Jason Dominguez can be that factor in key that can make this team go again. I don't know. They must have forgotten that Waldo exists in their lineup because he's there. It's really, I don't know right now. It's really just hoping that these guys can figure it out. And I'm just hoping that we can try and see what happens. And that's all I really have, man. It just sucks because we really don't know what's going to happen the next day or the next day after that. And either we're going to get this or the other. So it's just a bad day to see what's going to happen. And hopefully they can figure it out. And if they can't, it's just another cycle of who are we blaming today?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be happy that I'm not going to be watching a Yankee game. I'll be playing Fortnite. That's what I'll be doing later on tonight instead of watching the Yankee game. Go ahead, Erica. You was about to say something?
No. I was just gonna say the beauty of baseball, but also like the insanity of baseball is that there's always another game the next day. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you can start a 10-game winning streak now, and all of this. I mean, not that it goes away because we have PTSD of this season so far, but it's just like, they could literally go 8-2 the next games and somehow be up 2 games in the East, and it's just like, we're going into the playoffs hot. So it's just like we hold on to that. That's it's an insane part of baseball. So I don't think it's gonna happen, but you never know. You never know. That'd be insane because I'm just like, but maybe, but they prove us wrong.
I think as sports fans, Eric, and I think you could attest to this because you're a Knicks fan as well. We've been through this shit with the Knicks. We've been through ups and downs being Knicks fans. There's a majority of Yankee fans They're just Yankee fans. They're not Knick fans. They've never been through what Knick fans been through. So for a Knick fan, seeing what the Yankees are going through, I'm like, oh, this is nothing compared to Isaiah Thomas. So yeah, you can hate on Brian Cashman all you want. Isaiah Thomas, you guys lucked out. You guys ain't have Isaiah Thomas. So I think that's what it is. A lot of Yankee fans, they're just used to winning. They're just used to their team being number one. They're just used to being the guys that are just showboats in the championship, and they're not used to failures, right? Ghost, you're a Jet fan, right? And I always make this joke. People that are Jet fans, Met fans, and Knick fans, right? The three of them right there, they make great husbands and wives. Do you know why? Because being one of those fans shows that you can love something unconditionally and not expect shit back in return. So as a Knick fan, yes, I'm frustrated with what I'm seeing with the Yankees, but I've been there already with my Knicks. Since some of you Yankee fans out there that you guys are punching holes in walls, you guys are losing your minds. Like Erica says, go outside and touch some grass. That's the key word we're going to take away from this stream. Go outside and touch some grass. But until next time, I'm Hector. This is my friend Erica. This is my guy Ghost. Make sure you guys tune into Uptown Sports TV, Yankees Morning Brew. We will be back next Tuesday, and you may see a Twitter space from me and Ghost. You never know. But until next time, deuces.
You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.